another arena where we see that in the context of when one spouse will transfer their identity to that spouse to like live their identity out is we see this a lot in people who are leaders in the business community. You know, maybe they're like CEOs and presidents of company, and they have status, they got clout, they got the title behind them, and then they come home, and sometimes the spouse doesn't feel like, where do I belong in this whole thing? Because your name is out there, and you're this individual, you have this title, and that business leader can feel that burden that the other spouse is putting upon them to carry them alongside in creating their identity. Or sometimes the business leader will come. You're listening to the Favorite Marriage Podcast, a place where you and your spouse can experience God's favor on your forever. Join us as we explore relevant topics and provide practical tools for your marriage toolbox. Enjoy this week's episode of The Favorite Marriage.
We've got a power couple in the house.
Yeah, baby.
I mean, we are so jazzed.
Yeah, baby.
It's going to be fun.
Oh, yeah. All right. So, you want to do the first guest?
Sure.
All right.
I can't, because this man is
Yes.
my homie here. I'm telling you. I love this brother.
Yes.
He is such an incredible human. He's Monty Mora. Yes, that's his real name. And Monty is a Colorado Springs native, serves as a faith-based liaison at Pikes Peak Hospice and Palliative Care, and he also co-hosts My Favorite Marriage podcast with his beautiful bride, ranked 14th among the marriage podcasts, and there are many of them, so really be impressed. There are a lot of marriages. I know you wouldn't think about a breakup of marriages, there would be, but there are a lot of marriage podcasts, and their show reaches listeners in 34 countries. Welcome.
That's very exciting.
Thank you.
Yes, welcome. How do you pronounce your first name?
Jeannine.
Okay.
Yes.
So, because I know the French way and I wasn't going to mess that up. Because, all right. So, Jeannine is a Colorado Springs native and is a high school math teacher at Welt High School and co-host of the Favorite Marriage podcast. She and Monty will celebrate 30 years of marriage on September 1st.
That's right.
That's right. They got married when they were
Thank you.
7.
Yeah.
They were like, why wait? Right?
Why wait? They knew it. They were meant for each other.
I found my human. Here
Yep.
we
There we
go.
That
Right?
makes us happy.
Wow, so you're both natives.
Well, born and raised in Pueblo, Colorado, but we
Okay.
are now residing in the Colorado Springs area. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, how did you meet?
You want to go? It's
She
a
tells the
different
story better.
story.
Yeah, different story.
They're
Is it a
slightly
different story?
Well, there's slight different details.
Okay.
Who
Yeah.
made the first move and all that stuff.
Oh.
So, which one
She
do you
made
want
the
to
first
hear?
move. Yeah.
I want yours because
So-
normally the woman's is closer to the truth.
Okay. Well, Monty and I met in church. We were both attending the same church, and we were also in the same youth ministry for years. And then we grew up in that youth ministry, became youth leaders. Monty actually became my youth pastor. And then,
course.
yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, I went off to college.
We got to clarify some stuff now. Okay.
Oh my
Go
God.
ahead, keep talking.
Yeah, look at my face.
Yeah, it wasn't until after I went off to college that he realized that he was missing someone in his life, and then he reeled me back in from college and said, I need you in my life.
Yes.
Pretty much, right? That's how it
Yeah,
went.
for sure, yes.
Yeah, you have anything to add?
Yes, no, so it was, when we first met in church, I was 15 and Jeannine was 12. So we've known each other since we were
So, yeah.
young.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
Close
so-
to 7, yeah.
Yeah, close to 7 years.
Yeah.
And then we ended up getting married in September 1, 95. And so September 1, 2025 is going to be 30 years.
Right.
We've been together, yeah.
Do you have kids?
We do.
How many?
We have 3 beautiful kids. They're all adults, 28. Our son Caleb is married, beautiful wife Lexi. And we have a son that is 25 and a daughter, that's Jared, and a daughter that is 21, almost to be 22, Janisa.
I met her, didn't I?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And she will be starting her last year of college.
Where's she in school?
She is right now hoping to enroll in the UCCS. Yeah, there's some things
Where's she
brewing.
been?
She was at Liberty University for a year. So she
Okay.
studied some music there and child development. In the previous 2 years, she played softball for Trinidad State College.
Did you really?
She did.
Trinidad, no joke in that,
Yeah.
that sport,
no.
right?
It's a good program.
Yeah, it's a
Very
good
good
program. Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
They were champions.
Yeah, they were champions.
Yep.
They went all the way to the world. They made it to the World Series and came in 8th place. They went to the grade
Wow.
8 in about 2 years ago. Yeah, so it's a solid team.
Solid
Right
team.
on.
Yeah. So Monte, you and I share one thing in common. God has called both of us into pastoral roles in our lives.
Yeah.
And you know, one time I joke and say I'm a recovering pastor, right? You don't recover because that's where God calls you to. Yeah. He makes the call. I didn't call myself
Yeah,
to that,
for sure.
right? So I'm always a pastor, just in a different role. So tell us, walk us through your journey, my friend, of becoming a pastor, and why do you think is your ultimate call in life?
Yeah, so as a teenager, I gave my life to Christ. I was 15, and it was around the age of 17 years of age where I felt this burden, this call to want to help people, help individuals. I didn't know like what context it would be. I knew it was going to be in the context of church, and so I felt this pull, this urge to like get involved in ministry to help people, hurting people, because I was a hurting young man when I came to Christ, and so I wanted to give back and reach others and help others who are navigating that journey. So I just began to pursue ministry in youth ministry in my church, ended up doing the work of a youth pastor, associate pastor, and I took the role of a lead pastor at 24 years of age.
Oh my!
So we started very
I
young.
wasn't
That
even
is
saved
young.
at 24 years of age.
Yeah. And so from that journey, it's been now, over 30 years where we've been involved in ministry together, pastoring several different churches up and down the Front Range, did some missionary work in different countries around the world. And it's still my passion today to help people, now more in the context of married couples, because there's a lot of hurting couples out there. There's a lot of
Yes.
couples that are experiencing challenges. So we like to come alongside couples now in the role of biblical counseling, pastoral counseling. We call it marriage coaching. And now our forte is coming alongside couples and giving them that extra boost in the arm, encouragement that they need for their marriage so they can have a lasting marriage.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Yes. Lisa, as both her and I have gone through divorces in our lives, and why do you take us through some of the things, because something qualifies us to speak to other humans about what we speak about, right? It just doesn't fall out of the sky. Why do you think you're qualified to speak to other people about this space, Jeannine?
Well, I believe we are because we have been through the valleys. We've had the valley moments. We've had the mountaintop moments. I think just saying yes to God and giving Him our yes to work through some of the hardest times of our lives, which was in marriage, saying that to Him and saying yes has given us, I believe, favor in His sight, because we trusted Him with our mess, and because we did that, He has done so much in our lives, like grace. That's all we can just speak about, grace. And I believe that's like the message that we give to couples is grace and hope. So because of where we've been and the road we've traveled, we sit across the table from couples and we say, hey, we have been here, so we know you can do it. And we know the God we serve can take you to, because He's not a respecter of man.
No.
And so we know that he can help you just as He helped us.
Yes. Are you jumping in here?
Well, I was trying to think of how I'm going to question things. Well, the prior show to this one, we were talking about how the young gal on the show was looking for a young man to marry who specifically had not experienced divorced parents.
Mm-hmm.
Have either of you had divorced parents?
That would be me.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, my parents divorced when I was 6 months old.
What?
Oh.
I'm the youngest of 6. So I grew up in a divorced home. My mom was a single mom. She raised all 6 of us. I mean, she was the hero. She was both mom and dad. And so one of my greatest fears growing up and getting married was, would I know how to do this?
Yeah.
Because I never saw the context of a husband and wife in my home. It was just mom raising us. So my greatest fear is our marriage going to last? And the second greatest fear is, am I going to be a good dad? Because growing up in a fatherless home,
Yes.
my dad wasn't reintroduced back into my life till I was an adult. And so I would say those are some greatest fears, and we had to work very hard because I brought a lot of trauma, I brought a lot of insecurities, I brought abandonment issues into our marriage, and so we had to work through that in the first 10 years of our marriage. It was a lot of hard work, but through the help of other people, other married couples, church, professional counseling, all of those tools that help make us, I think, our marriage today successful as to where it is today. But yeah, there were those fears, and naturally you can make it work. Just because you have that background doesn't mean that's going to become your future for you or your marriage.
Right.
You can turn things around, of course, in our case, by the grace of God.
Yes.
And other couples, I think that was the big key for us, is other couples who we admired, who we looked up to, they came alongside of us and they coached us, they helped us, they encouraged us, right,
Yeah.
to have a lasting godly marriage. And
So
so,
great.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you had that because that was not my experience, right? I went out to pastor a church with my first wife, Debbie, and our marriage was struggling even as we went out. I've always been a pretty good orator, so people thought because I spoke well but I was immature, trying to pastor other people and etc. when a marriage was in shambles, right? So when we resigned from that church and came back, we were ostracized. Never called in, never counseled, never given any opportunity to help us or anything. So we felt like we were all doing it on our own, right? And after 20 years, our marriage totally fell apart. And we moved on. So I'm so thankful that you had people to walk beside you. Jeannine was talking a few minutes ago, Lisa, about, you know what? I'm a great marriage counselor because we've been through the fire.
Yeah, the fire, yeah.
The fire.
I think I said that. That was different than fire. What was
That's
that?
right.
For
You got
sure.
it right.
That's a different kind of fire.
Different
Yes.
kind of fire. Yeah, do you guys feel comfortable sharing some of the low points of getting to the place of where you have real authenticity to infuse into other people?
Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, we can relate a little bit, Frank, about being pastors and having a marriage that didn't align to what you were portraying to your congregation.
Yes.
Monty being 24 and I being 21, trying to lead people that were twice as old as us were.
Yeah.
There was a lot of expectations, and we tried to meet those expectations in our own strength, our own energy, and our own passion. We had zeal, right? We were there in the upfront, and it showed. But in the marriage arena, we were neglecting each other because we were just thinking all about, this is God's plan, His will, this is what we should be doing, and this was
on the back burner.
Yeah, it was on the back burner, as being neglected. And so 5 years into our marriage, things crumbled hard. We crashed hard. We lost the church. We had to move from Pueblo to Denver, just in hopes to save our marriage. And there were times in Denver where it just felt hopeless. There were times
That's
when
a big move. Why Denver?
That's where the closest church of our organization, the
So
leadership.
overseers?
Yeah, the overseers of
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yes.
They were the closest. So we went up there for hope to be healed, and it was quite a journey. There was suicidal tendencies that came about within both of us.
Both of you thought about suicide? doing
Yeah, and I took little more steps towards that. Thank God I was not successful in that.
Is this
Praise
before
the Lord.
kids?
This is 2 kids in.
Okay.
So
Kids,
yeah, they
yeah.
were small. They were 2.5 and not even 1. So there was some trauma there in their lives at that time. But thank God that somebody came in, some couples came in, and they had a story that we heard them, we looked at them, and we thought, if they can make it, we can make it. And so, we started on the path to healing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeannine, let me stay there just for a minute, because this is so helpful to humans, because marriage is hard.
It is.
You know, and if you think otherwise, then you must be in la la land. You know, that just simply isn't the way life is.
Yeah.
So you say, I even thought about what were some of the narratives you were telling yourself in your head that you didn't think life would be worth living anymore. What were you hearing in a time like that for other ministry couples?
Yeah, so thinking in my mind that if we were serving God at this level and it failed, then what else was there to hold on to? And I think that was my narrative in my mind, was that it's never going to get better. I mean, you were here in ministry and it still failed. But God didn't fail us. It was the humanness in us and us not prioritizing God in the right way. But that was just a lie that the enemy was feeding me and also him
For sure.
many times.
Yeah.
So just feeling like there was no hope, and if we were already in a place where most people, hey, you need God.
Yeah.
Well, I had God.
Yeah.
And I was doing everything,
Right.
And I was doing ministry, and here we are. I mean, don't talk to me about God right now. And I was upset.
Not helpful.
Yeah. So, I mean, there was a lot of healing and just light that God shined on what we did, what we weren't doing right as far as putting God first. We were Christians. We did not have a Christian marriage, and that is what failed us, is not putting God first in everything in our lives. And once we did that, once we stood back and said, this is not about you or what you can do in your own strength, that was when we were able to we were like in the valley. We had nowhere else but to look up. And thank God we had people that came in our lives and helped us do that.
Yeah. And I'd like to add in that context, many married couples who are young, starting out, and we experienced this, they didn't know how to prioritize the marriage. They had, and that was our case. We put ministry in front of marriage, and ministry became the mistress in the situation. And our priorities were out of order. When you look back in married couples that have failed and they didn't succeed, you're going to see that there was a misplacing of priorities, that something took the place of their love, and whether it was a job, a career, something else, right? And so we had to learn how to prioritize our marriage, God first, marriage second, kids third. We get those priorities out of order sometimes. We put career first, kids second, God third, marriage fourth, and when those priorities are out of order, that causes a lot of disruption in marriage. So from the marriage coaching we do, we really encourage couples, get your priorities in order, get them straight first, and God first, marriage second, and really invest. You had mentioned the statement, marriage is hard.
Yeah.
We ask couples to reframe that sentence. We say, no, marriage is a gift, but marriage takes hard work.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's the encouragement we give to couples, is about priorities and putting in the hard work, because marriage does take hard work.
It does take hard work.
Yeah. If I can add,
absolutely.
Frank, I was also a very young, 21 years old. I don't even think I knew who I was.
Yeah.
And I believe I did a lot of just allowing Monty to lift me up, and expectations, like the expectation role is crazy when you get that out of order as well. And when he let me down, that crushed my world.
Yes.
And I learned that the only one who should be lifting us up is God,
Christ.
Yeah.
because he won't let us down. But the moment you put your hope into someone else to lift you up, to lift up ministry, to lift up your family, and it's not God, then they're going to let you down.
Yeah, that's a misalignment as well, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And I think
Mindset.
that's where my world was crushed when this person who I just put so much hope and expectation and let me down, then that was when my world became hopeless.
But that must have made it unbearable for you to have someone putting that much pressure on you too.
Yeah.
I could see it going both ways.
It is a heavy burden to carry when
Yes.
one spouse transfers their identity to their spouse
Yes.
to help them develop their identity. And so there is a lot of pressure on that one spouse, and we see that so many times in marriage
It's
today.
so common.
It is
Yeah.
very, very
Yeah, I
common.
have some of that, you
Yeah.
know, and Michelle even might be watching this, but for her coming up, she wasn't a Christian when I met her. So I led her to Christ, right? And I was her pastor for the formative years of her Christian faith, right? So a lot of that is transferred to me about her identity.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I know
It's
she'll
dangerous.
tell you that,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. So we even, to some degree, still walk through that. It's just that she's matured to the level that it doesn't feel as burdensome,
Yeah.
right, as it
Yeah.
was previously.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
But to be mature enough to identify that, Frank, is great for
Absolutely.
both of
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So,
It's huge.
yeah, so I've been in this thing a long time. Her not as much, but she's learning and still learning to let go of that,
Yeah.
and knowing it's not Frank, it's Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, another arena where we see that in the context of when one spouse will transfer their identity to that spouse to like live their identity out is we see this a lot in people who are leaders in the business community. You know, maybe they're like CEOs and presidents of company, and they have status, they got clout, they got the title behind them, and then they come home, and sometimes the spouse doesn't feel like, where do I belong in this whole thing? Because your name is out there, and you're this individual, you have this title, and that business leader can feel that burden that the other spouse is putting upon them to carry them alongside in creating their identity. Or sometimes the business leader will come home and try to be CEO, president
their
at
house.
home of their house,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And
You know
like,
who I am?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't care.
Yeah.
And like just saying that, Lisa,
Yeah.
that is where we start with our coaching. It's
Yeah.
like finding who you are individually, because then that one flesh can mesh.
Oh, I love that. That one flesh can mesh. That should be an
Right,
hashtag.
yeah.
That might be. Might
Maybe the next T-shirt idea, right?
That's right.
I love
In
it.
the meantime, keep showing up.
Yes.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Tell us about the keep showing up thing. You said it was show number 2 or
Yeah.
something. What happened?
So we started our marriage podcast, The Favorite Marriage, and it was in show number 2, episode number 2, where we were talking to couples about the idea of showing up to the table that God has prepared for them. So we were talking through Psalm 23. The Lord's my shepherd. He prepares a table before me in the presence of my enemies. So we were talking in that show, and we were just kind of working through this idea. What if you are showing up to the table that God has prepared for you, but your spouse isn't showing up?
Yeah.
And so we said we would encourage that spouse who's showing up, keep showing up. And that tagline began to take off.
Yeah.
And that became one of our taglines, which we have all of our merchandise that we have now has the keep showing up. But it came as a result of episode 2, and that's one of our most listened to episodes now, obviously. But we just keep encouraging couples, keep showing up. You know, 80%, Woody Allen said 80% of success
Is
is just showing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Frank's always saying that in community.
Yes.
So many people come to him, who do I need to know? What do I need to do? What do I need to think? All the things. But he's like, keep showing up.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, we need to get you a shirt.
But there is power to that.
Oh, yeah.
Like people think we're everywhere at all things, and
Yeah.
it's not true. But we show up,
Yeah.
and when we show up strong.
Yeah.
That is so good.
And that's another thing there is we encourage couples. It's just not about showing up. It's about how you show up.
Yes.
How do you
Say
show
it.
up to
Yes.
your marriage? How do you show up to a date night? How do you show up to conversation? How do you show up to dinner? How do you show up to the bedroom? Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
How do you show up? So it's just not about showing up. It's the presence you bring.
Woo!
The
show up.
attitude you
So-
bring.
What I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially that last one.
Oh my goodness, of course.
Of course.
You guys.
Stir the testosterone there, huh, Frank?
Yeah.
I'm feeling I'm ready to go home.
Watch out. Here you go, Michelle.
Oh my God.
Anyway, Lisa. When you said about you all showing up and
Yeah.
there being encouraged, you come and say free hugs, like that's so powerful. I love that about you guys.
Oh, thank
because
you.
that's sometimes all someone needs is that encouragement and hug and just that, like Monty said, that shot in the arm that just like, hey, you got this, and you can
Yes.
keep moving forward. So thank you for what you guys do.
Well, thank
Absolutely.
you.
for saying that.
Yeah, it is. Sometimes
love
it's
it.
hard to show up.
It is hard
right?
to show up.
It is because the whole culture is saying the very opposite of what
Yep,
we're saying.
They are.
Right, yeah. But God's called us. And we know,
Yeah.
we keep centering that.
Yeah.
We know why we're here. It's got nothing to do with me or her. It's got everything to do with His calling for us and where He's placed us in such a time as this.
Oh, for sure. And
Yeah.
in a time where everybody's focused on me.
Yeah.
And it's all about me. And not that
Yes.
self-care is not important, but
Yeah.
that you guys say there's the calling that you have for others.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
be there for others.
Yes.
It's amazing.
And hugs are very medicinal, and we know that, and that's why it's like, well, the first 3 times we did the hug campaign, I got laid out in bed. I could not move. I was immobile, and I was like, Frank, I'm texting him, I don't know what's wrong with me. And then someone reminded me about putting on the armor of God, and that people were putting their junk on me. So once I realized that, I forgot about that spiritual part.
Yeah.
So moving forward, I text my intercessors, and I'm like, hey, I have the hug campaign tomorrow. So now I get prayed
Cover us.
up
Yeah.
because what a difference it is.
That's so powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Cover us.
Yeah.
We did a
Very
whole
spiritual.
marriage series called Armor Up Your Marriage, and it was about the armor of God in the context for a married couple. So we're with you on that. You
Yeah.
need to armor up
Totally.
because the work we're involved in the community, we're shaking hands with so many different people,
Yes.
Yes.
and we don't know where those hands have been.
Exactly.
So we have to armor up
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, and you don't know what people are holding, and just having the knowledge that it is a spiritual thing, period.
It is.
It
Like,
is.
Just
We don't-
know that ahead of time and prepare.
We don't battle against flesh and blood, right? So we have to keep that in mind as we're doing it. It also keeps us from getting mad at people because we know
Right.
we're not battling against flesh and blood. The devil hates what we do.
It's against
Yes.
The
principalities.
world,
yeah.
flesh, and devil all hate what we do. But you
Totally.
know what? I love what we do because he hates it.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
And because after the 3rd time I was struck down, I was like, a part of me wanted to text Frank and say, let's not do this anymore. Like, I was scared.
Sure.
At first, I was intimidated. But then when I realized how big of an impact spiritually it was to lay me out, then I came up swinging. And I'm
Oh.
like, oh no, it's on.
Sister, I can relate with that.
Yes.
We have felt that attack
Yes.
many times physically, and for some reason it's the women.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
sense that the women
Yeah.
are the ones that get attacked physically, and that's happened a handful of times in our lives, and it's just like, let's just play second fiddle or something, like
Yeah.
let's be in the background. And God's like, no,
Nope.
I have brought you through what I brought you through for a reason, and so
That's right.
came out swinging.
Yep.
Come on.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
another T-shirt design right there.
You're welcome.
We're getting plenty of T-shirt designs.
Write things down.
Monty, I want you to talk to men today, my friend, because God has not better, just different, given us different roles in marriage, which is so important. When in context of marriage, what is God calling men to do today? Generalize it as best you can. I know you have to specialize it depending on who the couple is, but generalize that message for men today, what God is calling us to be.
Yeah, I have to buffer my statement with I'm coming from a pastoral role, from a biblical role, and I'm going to point the audience to a scripture in Ephesians chapter 5. Okay?
I know it well.
Yes. And the context is husbands loving their wives and leading their wives and loving them as Christ loved the church. So my role and the encouragement to men today, to husbands, is to be a loving leader of your wife. And what does that look like? That it means that I'm going to love her the way Christ wants me to love her. And that type of love is sacrificial love, because Christ gave his life for humanity on a cross. And so it's that agape love that he gives to us. And my role as a husband is to love my wife, and at times I have to sacrifice for her. For her. You think about marriage when we got married at an altar. And biblically, an altar was a place where there was sacrifice. So the beginning of our marriage, September 1, 1995, I didn't understand it then, but I understand it now, that I know that my role as a husband is to lovingly lead my wife, and that means there are going to be a lot of sacrifices I have to make as a man to support her, to encourage her, to lead her, to guide her. And I believe as men, when we lead our wives in a loving way and we lead them according to the way God wants us to lead our wife, any good wife is going to want to follow that. And sometimes we get in a situation where the husband's like, my wife is not wanting to follow my leadership or my guidance or my direction. And I always take him back, it's like, how are you leading? Not just showing up, how are you showing up to your spouse? How are you leading her? Are you listening to her? Are you understanding her? Are you communicating with her? Are you being patient with her? Are you being sensitive to her needs? Do you value her opinions? I mean, there's all kinds of things that are so important for us as men. But I would say it's about being a loving leader and leading your wife as Christ would lead the church.
You know, it's interesting because in corporate America, most leaders don't know how to be a loving leader. So if you say that to someone, how do they put that into action? Like, how can they really, truly, because you're a business coach, Frank. You're an amazing business coach, right? How many men have you tried to coach that didn't know how to lead with love?
Most.
Right?
Matter of fact, that's almost seen as a weakness in the business community.
Exactly.
And so, because if I'm vulnerable, if I show any of those things, it's going to be a opportunity for people to manipulate and take advantage of their positions and et cetera, or take advantage of me and their insecurities. Just begin to shout in that space, right? So it's very difficult. It's hard, even women that I coach in that space. It's hard for someone to put a heart on a Facebook page. I mean, something comes up in the hearts of people when they say the word love. Because it's been misused, mishandled, misaligned in people's lives, and what they've seen in their mom and dad and other people and stuff has been the opposite of what Jesus came for.
Or that word gets overused.
I love my car.
Love. And it's like we don't understand sometimes how important that word is and who it is.
And it's a verb.
And it's the person.
Yeah, for sure. And vulnerability is important for husbandry.
Husbandry. I love that word.
Men find it hard to be vulnerable because the way society has wired us, and so a man does this, a man has to look like this, a man has to talk like this. But one of our episodes, we talk about the importance of being vulnerable, and especially in the context of a man. When I'm vulnerable and I open up my heart to my wife and I share my deepest feelings, emotions, and secrets, and and I'm vulnerable to her, that opens her up. And there's this reciprocity of relationship that begins to take place.
Amen.
That's where deep communication and deep relationship really happens when there's vulnerability. Vulnerability is contagious.
Yeah.
It is.
And I've noticed that in our marriage, right?
Yes.
When I am vulnerable to Jeannine and I share and I open my heart, and I do that because I know she's a safe place.
That's important.
It is
Right.
As
so.
wives,
Yes.
you need to be a safe place
Yes.
for your husband to do that. You have to be able to, prepare that table to say, come and share with me. And being a safe place is huge.
Yeah. Talk about, dig down in there a little bit more, Jeannine,
Yeah.
for us, you would,
That's
if
good.
you would.
That's
The
great.
safe place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because most men don't, in my first marriage, I didn't feel like, and it's my ex-wife is my very good friend today. I'm probably safer with her now than I was when I was married to her, right? We're very good friends. But I had no space of safety there. And women always say, God, why he never shares? He
Yeah.
never shares. But when I share,
Right, you can't.
Right.
The safe place is not when they share something vulnerable to you, you respond with anger or just break down. And there might be tears, but not to a point where you shut him down because you became so unstable. I believe it's important when you have those moments and those conversations are coming, that you prepare yourself for that, the spiritual part, and prayer and asking the Lord to protect your heart. Also being at a place where you're humble and vulnerable and willing to let your husband know that there are things in my life as well, because neither one of us is perfect.
Right.
So like he said, that reciprocity begins to show, but having that open door and being that safe place and not judging.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and you guys coming together with the struggles and praying together with them and saying, hey, I'm on your team.
Yeah.
We are in the same corner. I want to help
you are
you.
not my enemy.
Yeah. I'm with you fighting this.
Yeah.
If there's something you're struggling with, know that I am with you. We're together. We're in the same corner.
Yeah.
Men do this with their spouse. They will test where they're at. They'll say, can I share this with you? And then they'll share maybe a tidbit of it. They're watching the response.
Right.
Right? Is this a safe place? Is she a safe place? If the wife responds negatively or not in a healthy way,
More aggressively.
the husband will shut down.
Right.
Yep.
Immediately.
He'll close the book and say,
Yeah.
okay, we're not going there.
We're not
again.
going to go there.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Interesting.
I appreciate the offer.
But we do that as men. We test. And the more we test, if we feel it's safe place,
Yeah.
safe place, we start opening more and more.
That's so
and more.
interesting.
And it's dangerous
Wow.
when you shut that door to your spouse, because there will always be another door that opens
Yes.
for someone else, and they'll be like, come talk to me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have to be the opposite
Yeah.
sex. It can
Oh,
be
that door is
anybody.
shut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The enemy is watching too.
Oh, yeah.
And if he knows the wife shut the door, he's going to be like, come here.
Yeah, you
Have the
wonder
door
why you
open.
suddenly
Yeah.
become so interesting to
Yes.
other people, right?
Yeah, you want that as a wife. Like,
Yeah.
you want to prepare that place for your spouse. Like, you want that, ladies. Like, you it's up to you. A lot of times, you don't talk to me. Well, examine your heart and your responses and your actions.
I love the book
is
a
so
couple
good.
of years ago, Love and Respect.
Yeah.
Right? And the premise is in Ephesians 5.
Yeah.
Right? Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself. Women, respect your husband. Because his whole premise was love isn't natural for men to give.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it has something that we have to intentionally do towards our wife. And respect isn't naturally for women to give to a man. So she has to be intentional about that, pray about that, and make sure that our hearts align with the will of God in the midst of that. Because if you disrespect us, you're not getting anything. Ain't happening. Right? Right?
Yeah.
And women are disrespecting men, and men are not loving their wives on a wholesale basis in this culture.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
So
For sure.
true.
That is God's design for marriage. It really is. And so what we encourage and how we coach couples is God created this blueprint of how marriage is to operate. Ephesians 5 is part of that blueprint. Husbands loving the wife, wife learning how to respect the husband, right? When a husband and wife follow God's design, God's blueprint for marriage, this is where our podcast name comes in. That couple will begin to experience God's favor. So when we say the favorite marriage, it means, like if you're living in Denver, it means you're a Denverite because you dwell in Denver. When a married couple dwells in God's design, they become the favorite of God, God's favorite. Thus, the favorite marriage, because we're dwelling in the presence and God's design.
Yeah.
How long did it take you guys to come up with that?
We
About 30 years.
That's so good. That's rich. Do you have that at the top of your website?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is so good.
Yeah, it's funny because people have asked us, how did you come up with that word? Like, is this now your favorite marriage because you had another marriage? And we're like, no, it's about when a couple dwells in God's favor, they become God's favorite, and that becomes God's favorite marriage.
Well, actually, both answers are true.
Yeah.
Because you did have another marriage.
We
It
did.
was totally different than this
Yeah.
You're
marriage.
so right.
For sure. Yeah.
Same
That's
people,
good.
different marriage, right?
That's right,
I have to
yeah.
use that the next time someone asks us that.
Yes.
Like, yeah, this was our favorite one.
Yeah.
For sure.
Same person, just a different season, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a question. So you spoke on the different what people do as far as priority. Everyone knows, God, the marriage, children, but in reality, when that first baby comes along, you can barely breathe, and let alone have a sip of water and go pee in peace and all the things. Like, right? Life is at you, like, woo, what just happened?
Exactly.
So how do you guide couples to do the right priorities? People don't know how to do it. And God is that soft, loving Abba Father just waiting for you to recognize and speak to Him and commune with Him. But we're so busy dealing with everything that's in our face.
Right.
So how can people balance that and get to the real priorities? How do they do that?
Yeah. I think a lot of people think priority means time. Like that, like the kids take all my time. Well,
Yeah.
my job takes all my time. Okay, and that is true, especially in different seasons in
Yeah.
your marriage. So when you're raising kids, they took up most of my time. And he did seem like he was coming in second place. Well, in the beginning he was.
Yeah, we
I was
got it wrong.
replacing
Yeah.
our kids, with him. I was placing our kids for what I was missing with him. But what we've learned, it's not about the time, it's about the value we place. And when you do have the time, how you treat that time, the value of that time. I mean, it could be a Friday night for 2 hours, but if you're investing your heart, mind, and soul to your spouse at that time, and it's genuine and it's rich, then you don't need a whole lot. It's like that piece of cake you have, just that rich piece of cake. You only need a little slice and you're satisfied, right? It's like, give me some milk with that. That's
What's the connotation here? Cake and milk.
he rubs off on me.
Oh, that's so great.
That's what we're talking about.
I get you.
Yeah.
Yes, that's awesome. That is so good. Wow.
That is so good.
What a show.
That is rich.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, that's some rich, and then that just really hit me, young lady, when you said that. I mean, that just grabbed hold of a piece of my heart and said, you know what? Because you can feel guilt about this, particularly if you got it wrong. And people lots of times think quantity is the thing when it's the quality.
It's the quality. I love that.
That was so awesome.
We had
Look at you.
She's throwing down
a young
today.
couple come up to us in our last marriage class. A young couple came up to us. They were right in the middle of the grind of marriage and kids. And what they started doing is they would put the kids down around 8:30 to sleep, not down, but like to sleep.
Yeah.
And then they went out and they got like a painting kit. And they stayed up a couple extra hours, and together they did painting with a twist in their living room together. And so it's being creative with that slice of time that you need, especially if you do have children, you know. The kids are off to daycare during the day. He can come home for lunch, and you guys can do something creative during the lunchtime.
Very
It's
creative.
about those
At
quality.
noon.
Yes. Yes.
Sorry, I
Just
couldn't
she's a new
resist.
marriage, right? New marriage and one-track mind, right?
No, date night is a good time if you have time during the day. I agree, Monty.
That's why I call it high
Continue.
noon. Yes.
High noon. He's worse than me, Steve.
Or better than you, depending on what
Yes.
your perspective is, right?
Whatever.
Are we blushing? Oh my goodness. We're blushing.
I'm glad I can't blush.
Yeah.
I live a blush-free existence.
That's
So.
lucky you.
Lucky
He
me.
has me blushing.
Guys, when did it drop on your heart that the Lord had prepared you to get this message out to the world? And tell me, how did it? What was the process you went through to say yes?
It was a process. It was because when we came out of we came on the other side of our healing, we started dabbling in helping couples. Not a whole bunch, but we started sharing our story, our testimony, and we ended up going back into pastoral ministry a few years later. God just turned it all around, and so when we got back into full-time ministry again, one of our passions has been helping married couples now. So it wasn't really like our forte early on, but I would say just in the last several years, we really felt this burden, this calling, this encouragement to really help couples. And the church we were at, there wasn't really a viable, strong marriage ministry in the church. And it's a fairly large church, a medium-sized church. And we're like, why isn't there no marriage ministry in this church?
Yeah.
And couples were coming to us, and we were like seeing this need. And it was around 3 years ago when we said, we want to do this, and we want to go all in and really help couples. So we did that. And then as a result of that, we were doing a lot of marriage coaching with couples, and then a lot.
Because we both have full-time jobs, and then on the weekends we would do coaching. We were also doing small group. So
And so we said, how can we help more couples? And that's where the podcast idea. We believe that there's a good idea, and then there's a God idea.
Yes.
We believe the Favorite Marriage podcast was God's idea for us. So we started that July 27, 2023, almost 2 years to the date. We started the Favorite Marriage podcast, and as a result, that podcast has just really opened up a huge platform, and God's given us just an amazing platform to help marriages. But it just began as a need. We didn't anticipate the podcast having an audience in 31 countries. We wouldn't anticipate the notoriety it's getting, but we just had a need. And that's the thing about life. We tell people to be successful in life is find a need and fill it.
That's right.
Just find a need. There's
Keep
needs
showing
everywhere.
up.
Yeah.
Keep showing up.
Showing up.
keep showing.
Yeah. How often do you do the podcast?
We record we produce an episode every other Monday.
Every other
And then on Fridays, we do what we call a 5-minute Friday. And so it's a 5-minute snippet of one of the podcasts we've done. And we just really highlight like an important marriage topic. Because a lot of times couples don't have the whole time to listen to a 30-minute episode, but they have 5 minutes.
So you summarize it?
And so we summarize it. So every other Monday we produce an episode, and then every Friday of the off week we do a 5-minute Friday.
Is it just you two, or do you have guests?
We have been having guests lately. We felt like this is, we've, had certain topics that we've talked about.
Yeah.
But when we hear people's stories, because that's how we were encouraged and we found hope, is when people hear other people's stories.
Yeah.
So we understood how powerful that is when you hear other people's stories. So we have brought on 3 couples so far, and we'll be bringing on one this coming weekend.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah, we're doing a summer episode right now called Love Stories. And so we're bringing on couples, and we're having them just share their love story. Something
They're all
really-
different.
They're all
Everybody's love story is
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, for sure. And then more recently, we were able to meet with Focus in the Family, and we're going to be on their marriage podcast.
Oh my!
It's called
Wow.
Crazy
I
Little
should
Thing
ex-
Called Marriage on August 27th. It's going to be
Yeah,
on their
so
podcast. So
encouraged,
it's
yeah.
pretty neat that they've invited us to be guests on the show.
You know you arrive, brother, when focus reaches out.
Yeah.
We arrived today. We arrived
Oh,
today.
thank you.
They just keep showing up.
Yeah. Showing up strong.
Oh, that is so incredible. It's so incredible. You know,
Do you guys have intercessors that you can put our Be Encouraged show on their radar to pray for us?
Absolutely.
We would appreciate it.
Yes.
Awesome.
we would appreciate
Yeah,
that.
and same. Please do.
Yeah.
We'll
for us
share
as
it
well.
for you as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
important.
This is so much darn fun.
I know.
It really is. It's the first time I ever seen you come out, young lady. You know, I kind of met you on the fringe here, but today I feel like I'm getting to know you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Being here.
Yeah, which is so incredible. No wonder you're happy all the time.
Yeah.
Smiling like
You see that grin?
She's the one.
This is my favorite marriage.
Yeah.
Done a lot of shows.
Can you say that again? You're what?
My favorite show. With my favorite marriage.
Yes.
Yeah.
Monty and Jeannine.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for being